I don't think you are going to be happy with me, but let me start. Somalis deny Africanity. They do not want to be identified as African. They want to be Arabs. And the Arabs are pushing them. There's a dilemma here. You see, there's identity crisis here now. I don't have identity crisis. I'm an African, and there are so many Africans in Africa. I don't have identity crisis. You can call me whatever you want. But I have identity. You do not have identity now because the Arabs have refused you. They are telling you, ya Abid. And you're better off to accept me as your brother rather than going to an Arab. So, we called Somalis, in that article, Africanity by accident of geography. This group consists of those who happen to be in Africa without their wish to be there. Individuals who found themselves living in the continent by virtue of circumstances beyond their control. In other words, circumstantial Africans. Members of this group are not pleased to be identified with negritude or blackness, be it by value, ideology, culture, ethnicity, or any other quality except by the accident of being in Africa, of existing on the continent. So, the only time that a Somali nomad or a pastoralist, and I have nothing against nomads, the only time he or she will accept to be an African, or she or he may instantly turn around from Arab to Africa, is if she or he encounters discrimination of identity, denial from that group. And I have seen this in Egypt. I have seen it in Saudi Arabia, and I have seen it in Canada. I'm a Canadian by naturalization. You see? So in Canada, they come to complain. I was teaching at York University in Canada. ورنا على عبودك يا قال هذا والله والله مثل كلا الصع. And I tell them, welcome to the real world. In Canada, I used to teach at York University. Some of my students, they come to me and they say, Prof, these white people, they discriminate us. This is not right. I said, yes, welcome to the real world. Because I have training for discrimination. You gave me. Back home, you gave me that training. To me, this piece of cake. I never felt even single day in Canada that I was discriminated. Never. Because I was already prepared by you guys. As the person who assumes that the purpose of discussion is the pursuit of truth. Now, he continues, such an intellectual is one who attempts to identify problems, reflects on them, and does not shy away from asking hard and unpleasant questions. I didn't shy away, I explained. And who suggests, not imposes, some type of solution to the problem under his or her scrutiny. So he concludes and says, therefore, I would argue that an overwhelming number of Somali intellectuals are simply university and college graduates. Because education which does not bring about a transformation in the consciousness of the educated is hardly beneficial to the individual, let alone to society. If you are educated and the education is not bringing any transformation in you, you still go back to your tribe. You still go back to the nonsense of calling me, which I don't understand. You see, but like now I'm not called Adon because I'm a professor. Everybody knows there's a little resource around me. Everybody will come. Now I'm removed from Adon to Adonhood. Now, we're Sudan way. I'm Sudan. I'm not Sudan. Adon. So, therefore, here I think the Chinese proverb I picked is very handy here, is useful. It says, to know and not to act is not to know. If you know something, you don't act on it, then you don't know it. So, I wish we had enough time. Now, this is where I come to the character, which I think Burhan, most of it he covered. I thank him. It's the first time I meet him, and I heard about him and I read, but I never met him. The character of a nomad or a pastoralist is to disdain agriculture. Not only that, to disdain any manual job. They don't want to do anything that involves handwork. How do you progress? How do you develop? You tell me. These missiles that are being sent, this technology that is happening among the Japanese and all this, do you think it came because of Gabay? No. It started with a hand. And now I am doing the handwork. You insult me because of doing the handwork. Kabaha lugu tolay. Borsa lugu sameye. You respect the Italian who makes the shoes and the handbag. But the one who is with you, who's a Somali who makes the shoe, the knife, the metal, you derogatively abuse. Ask yourself, are you intelligent really? We will come to the intelligence. We can live together and we can be diverse. There are countries like Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda. They have 50 tribes. They have 50 languages. And they are a nation. They are intact. They are together. They are working. So why do you deny my language? Why do you impose on me your language? Why? If you want to kill a society, I have seen this in the US and Canada, you first take away the language. When you want to kill a culture, you take away from them the language. Then that culture is dead. You know why? Because you are adopting another language and you are always told, no, you are not the master of the language. Stand behind. Because you adopted this language. It's not your language. So many young men in my country, in Somalia, they have been robbed of their culture. I was in primary, I don't know if we have time to finish this. I was in a primary school. I went to register. There's this old man that came, he's a Rahawin, wrongly called Rahawin, but they are Rewin. There is no Rahawin. He came to register his son at the same school. Me, I was already registered, but we are just standing there. So he doesn't speak another language. He speaks only the Rewin language. Is that a crime? So the headmaster, he said, I want my son to be registered. I am here. I was living somewhere else, so I moved now here in this area. This school is near to my children. I want to be registered. And listen what the headmaster answered. He says, war Soomaalidii baan wax u la'nahay. You're laughing now, but what does he feel, this young kid, at that age of 5, 6 years old? Let me translate. An old man came to register his son in a school that he moved in that area. And the headmaster tells him, because he was speaking a different language. It's a Somali language, but different, but the headmaster didn't understand. Now the headmaster answers the father, look at him. We can't get spaces for Somali children. And he's asking for space. So who is he? Where did he come? He's a Somali. So if I tell you the historical background of what happened to me and what happened to my brother, which he all registered, his book is called Unearthing Apartheid in Somalia. You can't believe. When my brother graduated from primary, all the teachers, all the parents were invited there, and my brother was #1 in the school. The headmaster was Ustad Abdullah. He was half Arab. And Ustad Abdullah, then children are given their certificate, they called their name, and the parents are there. My brother was called, and he went to get his certificate because he scored all 100. 100, 100, 100, 100. So the headmaster said, this is the kind of student we want. This is the kind of student who will help tomorrow the country, the whatnot and whatnot. And an old parent stood up and talked to the master and said, war hadda ma waxaadna leedahay caruurteen oo dhan ma addoonkaasaa ka badiyey. I knew you will not like it. You see, my brother scored 100 in every point because I am a Bantu. My brother is a Bantu or a Jarer, whatever you want to call it locally. So a parent from the dominant clan, Somali, says, he told the headmaster, are you trying to tell us all of our children were defeated by this slave? Because we are considered a slave in Somalia. Not only we, every African Negroid-looking person, if your nose is big, if your hair is kinky, you are a slave.